The knife in my hand wasn't meant to cut anything that evening. Not bread, not fruit, not flesh. Yet somehow it was there, trembling between my fingers as her words carved into me deeper than any blade ever could. "I should have married Mark," she screamed, her face flushed with anger, her voice echoing through our quiet kitchen like a gunshot. And just like that, the 10 years of love, laughter and late-night talks we'd built together cracked. For a second I didn't say anything. I just stared at her, at the woman who once promised to choose me every day through everything. Her chest heaved, her eyes glistened with tears of rage, and the silence between us grew heavier than the air after a thunderstorm. Then, slowly, I put the knife down on the counter. "Yeah," I said quietly, my voice barely holding steady. "Maybe you should have." It all started weeks earlier. Small things I told myself not to notice. The late-night phone vibrations she silenced too quickly. The perfume she wore only when meeting coworkers. The way she smiled when her phone lit up, but the smile faded when I entered the room. Her name was Claire, and I used to think she was the most honest person I'd ever met. We met in college. She was studying psychology. I was an engineering major who didn't know how to talk to people unless they came with a manual. She used to laugh at that. She used to laugh at everything. Now, even laughter had become rare currency in our home. When she came home late one night, claiming her boss had asked her to help with reports, I tried to believe her. I really did. But when she went to shower, her phone buzzed on the counter, and my chest tightened. "Mark. Wish you didn't have to go. Tonight was perfect. Red heart." I didn't open the message thread. I didn't need to. The words were enough to drain the blood from my face. Mark. Her coworker. The guy she'd mentioned a dozen times. Mark said this. Mark helped with that. I thought he was just a friend. I wanted to scream, to confront her, to demand why. But instead I just stood there, the glow of her phone screen lighting my shaking hands. When she came out of the shower, I pretended nothing was wrong. I told myself I needed proof. And I found it. Not in messages or photos, but in the way she started pulling away. The subtle disgust when I tried to hold her hand. The sigh she gave when I asked about her day. The way she laughed at her phone but barely smiled at me. The woman who once kissed me goodnight every evening now turned her back and scrolled in the dark. 2 weeks later we were in the kitchen, arguing about something small. Dishes, bills, who forgot to buy milk. But underneath the surface, it wasn't about any of that. It was about everything that had gone wrong between us. "You don't get it, Daniel," she shouted, slamming a plate into the sink. "You never listen. You never see me." "I see you, Claire." I shot back, my voice cracking. "I've always seen you. I've seen you smile at someone else's texts. I've seen you drift away from me. And I've seen you stop loving me one day at a time." Her eyes widened, not with guilt but with anger. "Oh, stop making yourself the victim. You're so busy being the perfect husband that you don't even realize how boring you've become. Do you know what it's like to live with someone who stopped trying years ago?" I stared at her, stunned. "Boring? Claire, I worked 2 jobs so we could pay off your student loans. I came home every night hoping we'd—" "Yeah, well, maybe I didn't want that kind of life." She cut me off, her voice shaking. "Maybe I wanted more." And then she said it. "I should have married Mark." The words hit like a brick through glass. For a moment I couldn't breathe. She froze too, as if realizing what she'd just said. Her lips trembled. But it was too late. The damage was done. I took a long breath, trying to steady the tremor in my chest. "You should have married Mark," I said softly. "Because clearly, you already did in your heart." She blinked. "Daniel, that's not—" "No," I said, cutting her off, my tone colder than I intended. "Don't. You don't get to take that back. Not after everything." I turned toward the window, staring at our backyard. The one we'd spent years saving for, where we planned to build a small garden, maybe a swing for our future kids. "Do you know how many nights I stayed up hoping we could fix this?" I whispered. "How many times I told myself that maybe you just needed time. That maybe I wasn't doing enough." My throat tightened. I kept thinking love meant forgiveness. But love isn't supposed to mean losing yourself. She looked away, tears streaming down her face now. Daniel, I didn't mean it like that. I was angry. You make me feel. Don't tell me what I make you feel, I interrupted, turning to face her. Tell me what he makes you feel. Her lips parted but no sound came out. Silence. That silence was the answer I needed. I walked to the kitchen drawer, pulled out an envelope I'd been hiding for a week. I placed it on the table. She frowned. What's that? Proof, I said simply. Inside were printed photos, not the kind that could be misunderstood. Her and Mark. Together. His hand on her back. Her head resting on his shoulder. Kiss. She stared at them, her hands trembling. You hired someone. I needed to know, I said. And now I do. She dropped into the chair, her sobs filling the kitchen. Daniel, please. It wasn't supposed to go that far. I was confused, I felt alone, and he just listened to me when you didn't. I leaned against the counter, my arms crossed. You know what's funny, Claire? I was alone too. Every night you were with him, I was sitting right here, eating dinner alone, wondering how to fix something that was already broken. Her tears came harder now. Please don't give up on us. I can end it with him. I'll do whatever it takes. Just please. I looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time I didn't see my wife. I saw a stranger wearing her face. I'm not angry anymore, I said softly. I'm just done. Her shoulders slumped. You can't mean that. I do, I whispered. You yelled that you should have married Mark. Go find out if you were right. She covered her face, sobbing uncontrollably. I turned to leave but stopped at the doorway. For what it's worth, I said quietly. I hope he makes you happy because I never stopped trying. That night, I drove for hours without a destination. The radio was off. The only sound was the rain tapping against the windshield. Slow, steady, merciless. By the time I parked by the ocean, dawn was breaking. The world was gray and empty, but somehow, peaceful. I sat there for a long time, breathing in the salt air, letting the pain slowly wash out of me. Maybe I wasn't the perfect husband. Maybe I missed the signs. But I loved her with everything I had. And that, I realized, would always be enough for me, even if it wasn't for her. A week later, Claire moved out. She left a note, something about needing to find herself. I didn't reply. Some journeys, I guess, don't have room for two people anymore. Months passed before I stopped checking my phone for her messages. Before the ache in my chest stopped waking me at 3 a.m. Before I learned to smile again without forcing it. But one evening, as I sat at the same kitchen table, now empty but mine, I caught a glimpse of her old coffee mug in the cabinet. "C" printed in gold. For a second I almost smiled. Then I closed the cabinet, turned off the light, and whispered to the empty room. You should have married Mark. And for the first time it didn't hurt to say it.